On Christmas Eve, 1887, the town of Clover was born. Since that time, it's developed into the quintessential Southern town.
After 125 years, Clover endures as a very special place. A place where people want to live, work, play, worship, and raise a family. Its charm is seen down the tree-lined streets and the historic business district. A charm experienced as neighbors greet neighbors at the grocery store. From the earliest settlers to most recent arrivals, it's clear that our community still offers an unmatched quality of life. By the 1760s, the surge of Scotch-Irish immigrants into South Carolina had begun, and the area was increasingly being inhabited by Scotch-Irish Presbyterians. At this time, what is now Clover was open land with a few houses scattered throughout the countryside. As the early population grew, a preaching point was established 1 mile south of the present town square. It was called Center. Bethel Presbyterian Church deeded this property on August 9, 1827, and a house was erected for religious services. A burial ground was also located nearby.
It was named Center. Property was given to the church in 1837, and the church was built there shortly after that. A cemetery was in the area right beside the church, and there's still many marked graves there, but unfortunately there are many unmarked graves in the cemetery.
On June 11, 1851, the new Center Post Office was established.
At that time, my great-great-grandfather, Miles Smith, was appointed postmaster, and he served from 1851 till 1866.
In the intervening years, growth and activity had shifted to the north of Center Church. On March 19, 1874, a new post office was established, and Zimri Carroll was appointed postmaster. By December 1875, the railroad that begun before the Civil War was completed from Yorkville to as far north as Crowder's Creek. A 5,000-gallon water tank was erected to provide water service to steam engines passing through. 6 months after the completion of the railroad, in a letter dated June 15, 1876, Captain William Beatty Smith, son of Miles Smith, petitioned the president and directors of the Chester and Lenoir Narrow Gauge Railroad Company to erect a platform and siding for discharging freight from the newly laid railroad. The railroad approved Captain Beatty Smith's plan, and Clover began to grow.
When the railroad was finished, Captain Beatty, who was my great-grandfather, wrote the railroad company and offered to build a station there, or depot, and a siding for receiving freight, and offered to serve as the, I guess the term was a freight master at that time. But he saw the potential of the railroad, and I think at that point he decided he would try to create a town at this intersection, which became 321 and Kings Mountain Street and Bethel Street.
Miles Smith commissioned a survey for commercial and residential lots along the railroad. These lots became the foundation for the downtown district of Clover. On June 10, 1876, Zimri Carroll bought a lot for $35, where he built the first store. This store was located at the corner of what is now South Main and Kings Mountain Streets. Clover's first church, Clover Presbyterian, was established in 1881. The lot east of the church became the site for Clover's first school in 1881 as well, called the Clover Academy, which was run by the Clover Presbyterian Church.
Our congregation has the oldest weekday preschool in Clover, and we are blessed to have children in this building from all the other congregations and no congregation at all from around Clover and the surrounding area all week long in the morning, learning to love one another and to express God's love for the world in Christ in all that they do.
By 1882, the settlement by the railroad had grown to a population of just over 70 and was described as a little station on the railroad with 1 furniture store, 2 wood shops, 1 blacksmith shop, 1 post office, 1 academy, and 1 church. 3 years later, after receiving a request from the citizens of Clover, York County on the Chester and Lenoir Railroad line, the railroad ordered the erection of a depot where passenger service began in 1886. By now, people were increasingly attracted to the little hamlet called Clover, which finally incorporated through an act to charter the town of Clover, approved on Christmas Eve, 1887. The first town election was held December 26, 1888, when E.F. Bell was elected first intendant, or mayor. Dr. E.W. Presley, Zimri Carroll, J.R. Barron, and John Knox were elected as the first wardens, or town council. 2 years after Clover became official, its population had grown to almost 300. Captain William Beatty Smith began a campaign to establish a textile company.
After Captain Beatty got the store going and got the railroad siding in, and the town began to grow a little bit, he saw the textile industry developing around the countryside, and felt like that this would be a good place for a textile mill to give Clover residents and people in the surrounding area a payroll base for the town. Before this would have been all farming or shopkeepers, but by establishing a mill here, he felt like this would be something that would draw people to the area, and sure enough it did, because he rode the countryside essentially selling stock or selling the idea for the mill and taking subscriptions or pledges for money to build the mill. And he was able to secure enough money to this and built what we originally referred to as, what we refer to now as the old mill.
The Clover Cotton Manufacturing Company became a reality and was chartered on January 20th, 1890. The manufacturing company provided the first weekly payroll for area residents, created the town's primary source of livelihood, and brought economic benefits for Clover's growing population. Cotton became the dominant crop for area farmers, and the cotton and textile industry would be the lifeblood of Clover for the next 70 years.